Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how we scaled an e-commerce brand to $25,000 a day revenue with YouTube advertising. So that's $25,000 a day in sales with YouTube ads. This was one of our clients, and I'm going to show you how you can do the same. So as you can see over here, we actually took this client, which is a shoe brand, to $323,000 in revenue with $113,000 in spend over a period slightly over a month. As you can see, that's pretty ridiculous. And as you can see over here, we actually got to around 25K a day in revenue around here. So that's pretty insane, the results we got with YouTube ads. And I want to show you how you can do the same. So why would you do YouTube ads for your e-commerce store? So reason number one is there's very low competition. There honestly isn't that much competition on YouTube for e-commerce. There are a lot of info brands, there are a lot of basically gurus on there, but there are not a lot of e-commerce stores. And that's the cool thing about YouTube ads. It's a wide open blue ocean for e-commerce. The second reason why is the virality effect. If you have a really great video ad, people will start searching for it. People will start searching for the brand. They'll start sharing it with their friends. So we actually saw that with our the ad we ran, it got a lot of attention. Random people also uploaded it, and yeah, it just basically gets people interested. And the other reason why is that it's a lot faster to scale than with Facebook ads. As you know, Facebook ads can be very difficult to scale with. You have a lot of issues with scaling. There are a lot of courses on scaling because Facebook ads are hard to scale. So I'm going to actually show you why YouTube is better for scaling. And the last reason why is there are no pesky account suspensions. You don't really have accounts getting suspended left and right, which is really awesome because that can just be a big bummer. So the first limiting belief that people have is that video is hard. Now, honestly, that's not true. You can edit together your current footage with voiceovers, and that's going to work really well. You can also have influencers create videos for you, and they'll do this for pretty affordable rates. And once it's proven, you can even invest in quality video production because obviously you want to scale what's working. But to get started, you can just test the concept for fairly cheap. So video is not that hard. And honestly, the other thing is that because there is a little bit of effort that's needed with video ads, it's kind of a moat around your business. So if you look at this castle right here, it's pretty much a moat, and you are able to just build something that your competition can't easily replicate. So that's another reason why YouTube ads are awesome, because on Facebook, they can steal your images. They can create very similar images pretty easily, but to create a video from scratch, it requires some work. So if you're an e-commerce brand that's actually around the point where, you can build a moat around yourself, then video is a great moat to have, right? You always want to create barriers to entry for your competition. Now, the second limiting belief is, but I don't know YouTube ads. So I'm actually going to show you how to use YouTube ads in this video, and once you get the hang of it, YouTube ads is far more powerful than Facebook. So the first thing I'm going to teach you is how do you actually structure your video ad, right? Like, how do you actually take a video ad and structure it so that you can get people to pay attention, to convert, to click through? So the first thing you do is you want to grab their attention with a hook. So it could literally be something like me waving my hand in front of the camera and basically being like, hey, I wanted to tell you something. Or it could be with, let's say, an e-commerce brand. It could perhaps be something like, hey, have you ever had let's do an example. Let's say we have, we're going to promote headphones because I'm wearing headphones right now. So a great way to hook people's attention is, hey, have you ever been at a co-working space or an office and the person next to you it is so loud and it's distracting you from work, and you just want to, just basically shout at them, but you just let that simmer inside. So that would grab attention of your ideal audience, right? Basically because you're stating their pain point, and that way you're basically grabbing their attention by hitting on a pain point. Now, the second portion is qualification. You want to call out your ideal audience. So in this case, if I was selling a headphone, noise canceling headphones, I would say, hey, if you work in an office, or if you work with people, or if you commute a lot, I want you to watch this video because I will show you how you can make how you can tune out all of that noise. right? And then after that, you actually want to demonstrate your product and the benefits of it. So after you've grabbed their attention, you've qualified them, as in you've told them, hey, you are in my target audience. And you can tell people who are not in your target audience to actually skip the video ad. So the third portion is you want to demonstrate the product and benefits, right? So let's say you have these headphones. You want to perhaps show them that, maybe kind of like, let's say you have a lab setting, and you give one person a normal headphone and you give another person your headphone, and you kind of record the decibels that are coming into their ears, and you also maybe and you show that visually. You show that, okay, person left is really irritated, they keep getting annoyed, while person right is in bliss, and so on. So you actually want to visually show what your product does so people can emphasize with it. And basically, if they're interested, they're going to, obviously keep watching. And then you want to have a call to action and tell them, hey, if you want to actually reduce the amount of noise in your day-to-day life, then check out these headphones by clicking the link below. And then you want to show them social proof, you want to show them results. So perhaps you could splice in video testimonials from your clients. Perhaps you could do a quick screen share of all the reviews on your Facebook page or your Shopify store, etc. And then you want to have another call to action at the end. You want to have always at the minimum 2 call to actions. And during the call to action, you actually tell them, hey, click the link above or below to get your headphone right now. So you want to actually tell them what to do. And that's kind of the basic structure, right? Like, you can make it more complicated, less complicated. But honestly, this is like the bare minimum that will get you some good results. Now, this is actually interesting. So the guide character, and this was originally coined by Harmon Brothers, so full credit to them. But basically, if you're shooting a live action video ad or even a voiceover video ad, you basically need somebody to take the person that's watching it through how the product solves their actual problem. And you need somebody who has some humor. And if it's a live action video, you actually want to have 2 people. You want to have Everyday Joe. In that example, right, let's say you have one character who's the guide, who's basically going to show all the features and talk about the pain point and etc. And you'll have Everyday Joe who's going to be wearing these headphones, and basically the audience will emphasize with Everyday Joe because Everyday Joe is actually experimenting with, like say the other headphone, the competition's headphone, and this headphone, and you can kind of see the expressions on Everyday Joe's face, and that's what's going to kind of help make that work. Hey, so I actually want to show you an example of the guide character, and again, this is a Harmon Brothers video. Full credit to them. I just want to show you their ad and not our client's ad because, quite honestly, I don't want more competition for myself. Well, I don't really sell a grill product, so let's do that. This video ad by the Harmon Brothers is actually, I'm going to do a quick breakdown to just show you how the guide character and how everything works. So in this video ad, the hook is actually this juicy piece of meat right here. Honestly, if you're even a little bit hungry, that grabs your attention. And then this is Everyday Joe. This is like the character that everybody emphasizes with. He's just a guy who wants to make his life better. And in this case, he's like he's like a typical dad that's trying to grill food, but his food's not turning out that great. And then this is the grill god. So this is the guide character. So this is the guy who'll actually show all the features, who'll take you through all the things that this product does, and this is the grill god. So as you can see, he basically goes through like all the different features of the product. While this guy, his whole thing in the video, he doesn't really speak that much. His whole thing is actually to demonstrate the transformation. So before, he's like kind of like trying to be this the grill master, but he's not. He's failing at grilling, and because he has bad grilling equipment. While in this after situation, he's basically like this grill expert. So yeah, basically over here you can see kind of like his transformation. He's turned into a really like a grill expert, and now he can cook and so on. And yeah, basically the whole point is that you're essentially showing these live actors allow for a lot more engagement, and it really helps the video ad. I will link to the video below as well. So the other thing as well is that live action is preferred, but you can also do voiceover with a guide, right? Like you can have somebody voice overing the script as long as you use that formula that I gave you guys. And the voiceover ad will do well. Honestly, real life live action does better, but even a voiceover ad with like, footage taken together from different influencers and so on can work really well. There are a few things to really remember, right? You want to tell them exactly what to do after they click. So for example, if you want them to purchase your product, tell them, hey, click the link above or below and click the buy now button to get yours today, right? And you want to tell them to click above or below because, the call to action arrow can be above or below depending on mobile and desktop. It changes all the time as well, so it covers your bases. And you also want to add in arrows that point towards the call to action, and you can use the ad preview tool to see exactly where the call to actions will be, so you can make sure the arrows are in the right place. So for example, this is like just a random ad account we have, but we're not really doing much with it. If you actually go into ads and extensions, so there's actually a preview right here. And on mobile, you can you'll get a link to preview it, and then you'll be able to see it, right? Like right here, you see this link right here. So you'll want to make sure the mobile version has an arrow pointing there. While on the desktop, it's going to be a lot bigger in here, so you'll want to make sure the arrow is here. Typically on mobile, we also see a link like up there as well usually, but yeah, this is kind of what it looks like, and you can copy this preview link. This is in the ad level in Google Ads. So competitor research. Now, what I like to use for competitor research is VidTow. That's honestly what's worked best for us. So we use vidtow.com. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so it's vidtow.com, and it's a free tool currently. I don't know if they're going to charge for it in the future, but it's an awesome tool. And you can like find really good ads in there. So if you go in here, you can actually find like different episodes for different things. If you go in here, you can find different video ads for different products. So for example, you can see here, this is a drone ad. If you're selling a drone, this would be good. I guess they're drop shipping and then they got hit with a copyright claim. But as you can see, they spent like probably $1.5 million. There's like all kinds of different things in here. So if you, for example, right, let's say if you're selling, let's say skincare, right? So some sort of skincare. So maybe you can find your, like over here, I put in skincare. But what you can do is you can put your competitors' names into here. So, and we can like figure out which ones are popular. And then you can go into view count. If somebody's put in like 6 million views onto something, that means it's usually profitable. Like, as you can see, they've probably spent a few $100,000. It could be less or more. This is based on 5 cents. Looks like they have a pretty good direct response ad here, and it's Paula's Choice Skincare. So you can basically go in here and funnel hack your competitors, figure out their video ads, figure out everything. This is a really awesome tool. This one as well, there's 13 million views on there. So yeah, skincare seems to be pretty big on YouTube. Pretty awesome. And you can basically figure that out. The other thing you can also do is you can visit their website to see if you can get hit by the retargeting video ads. So you want to create a list of your competitors, put them into VidTow, visit their website, and maybe you'll get retargeted. If you go into Facebook as well and go onto their Facebook page, you can usually find their Facebook video ads as well if you do that. And that also gives you some good inspiration. Now, there are a couple ways to create video, right? And this is assuming you don't have in-house video. I know some agencies do have in-house video, which is awesome. But if you do have, if you don't have video production, this is a quick and easy, cheap way to make video ads happen. So what you do is you can hire a video editor and a voiceover artist. We found really great voiceover guys for $50 a video, and their editors can be anywhere between $10 to $40 an hour. So what you do is you already take your existing footage. So it could be influencer footage, it could be your own in-house footage that you have, it could be stock footage, and then you combine it with the voiceover script according to the formula I gave you earlier in this video, and you have a solution. And what I'll do is I'll actually link to our video formula, like to a PDF that goes over the exact formula, so you guys can script your own ads. And then, as well, you can basically find voiceover guys on Fiverr, on Upwork, and these guys can be like $50 a video. So if you combine that with a video editor, with some footage, and with a script, bam, you have a quick and easy video ad. Shouldn't cost more than a few $100s per ad at that point. Now, when do you want to shoot a professional ad? So when you've tested 4 to 5 lower budget video ads and you found a winner and you perhaps want to scale, that's when you want to either invest in a production agency or freelancers, or you want to create an in-house team, right? Like maybe you want to hire an in-house videographer, or rent some studio space, etc. So lower end live action videos will usually cost you between 1,500 and 5,000 USD, and higher end productions will be over $10,000. In my opinion, you want to kind of go with the lower end to start with, unless you're a much bigger brand. If you're a bigger brand, then, you know, just save yourself the time and invest into like a $10,000 video, because that will pay itself off. Like honestly, between voiceover and professional ads, the return on ad spend is much higher on professional ads. With voiceover ads, if you're breaking even, you know you got a winner and you just go and make it better, right? So the goal is to really just test and make sure you're getting some momentum with the cheaper ads, and then go into and start shooting like live action video ads that are produced more properly, right? And then you want to upload the finished ad onto YouTube. So what you do is you go in here and you will basically click this right here, click the upload video, and you'll drag the file in here, and then it will give you an option to put it as unlisted or private. You just want to put it as unlisted. So that's kind of how you do it, right? Now, I'm not going to go over every step of setting up your campaign, because honestly, that would take like hours and hours. I have a YouTube channel and a course if you guys want to check that out. But honestly, I just want to give you the basics, and then you guys can figure it out from there. So the next step is to set up tracking. So once you've gotten basically your video ads set up, you want to make sure you set up your conversion tracking. Usually with Shopify, it's very simple to set up tracking. Just Google how to do that, but it's usually you just put your tracking code into one spot. Now, where you actually find your tracking code is if you go in here and you go to tools and settings and then conversions inside Google Ads. And over here, you can basically set up your conversions. I don't know why there's opted in for free stock picking like lead magnet, but yeah, so click plus, click website conversions, and basically you'll set up your conversion. Usually it's going to purchase. You might have an add to cart as well, and you're going to use different values. There's like Shopify plugins that you can use that basically integrate Google Ads with that, but basically you would set it up in here and then set it up inside your Shopify store. But yeah, I would not recommend doing it all by yourself. There's some really good Google Ads and Shopify integrations. I think AdNabu is one. There's some others as well, but you guys can do a quick Google search and figure out which solution works for you guys. The next step is you want to set up your first campaign and target your competitors' videos. So what we actually do is we use a tool called TubeSift, and we can basically target your competitors' videos. We do normally this is at a lower scale. You're not going to be able to get much scale out of this, but it's a great way to start and test some campaigns, and you can get some hyper targeted kind of traffic from that. So what we do here is we go into TubeSift, which is this tool right here. It's basically a tool by Justin Sardi, great tool. And basically what we do in here is you'll go in here, and let's say your competitor is a skincare company, right? Like let's say it's Dove, right? Let's say it's Dove soaps, Dove soap. All right. So if you do by keyword, it will pull up like a bunch of videos about Dove soap, and there you go. You basically have extremely targeted audience, right? Let's say if you're a competitor to Dove, bam, you target these videos, right? And you can put these into Google Ads. So basically the way you set this campaign up, I'm just going to show you how to set up the basic campaign. You go into here, click new campaign. You want to do website traffic, go to video, and it will be drive conversions. And you're going to basically have your campaign name. Usually we put in the targeting, so it would be like Dove placements. We put in the video ad name, so let's say anti-Dove video ad. And then the last thing, well, there's a bunch of things we usually put in, but you want to also put in the bidding type. So we're going to do max conversion, and then the date you started it, which obviously will depend. And in terms of bidding strategy, when starting a new account, we always use maximize conversions. We use target CPA after we hit around 200 conversions or so. Budget, I would start each campaign at a minimum of 25 a day, and that usually gets it some data. If you're selling a more expensive product, I would recommend doing $50 a day just to get data in faster. And you really important, you want to disable this. You want to disable video partners on the display network, because that will just get you really bad traffic. And so you want to just keep this. And your geography obviously will depend on your product. Usually with languages, we just do English because there are a lot of Hispanic speakers in the US. So if it's an ad that's like, let's say in English, then perhaps, it's better to keep it in English. And usually we leave these alone. To start with, we typically have each campaign either target computers or a mobile. We like to separate those two out and just see what works better. And we typically exclude tablets and TV screens to start with. You could also do computers and mobiles initially, and then based on the data you see, you can basically decide which one to go for. And yeah, the ad group name, I usually kind of use the same format as this, but in this case, we're going to keep it super simple. Just going to copy this. And usually you want to just, if you have multiple ad groups, you just want to make sure that you have it as being descriptive. So let's say anti-dove placements, right? Or dove placements. In terms of audiences, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the videos from here. So we can actually put this click links, cut, and we go to placements, enter multiple placements, and bam. Now, obviously, you want to make sure you can get enough videos. With TubeSift, you can do 300 results. I just did 10 because I wanted to be faster. These are all monetized videos, so they're all basically videos that are, have ads enabled on them. And then you want to add in your YouTube video URL in here. And then once you do that, you create the campaign, you're off and running. So that's kind of how you set it up. Now, I'm not going to create the actual campaign because I don't want to create it. I don't want to spend money on that, but you guys see how we can set that up. All right, guys. So that is your first campaign. As I said, max conversions, bidding type. That's what you want to start with. Kind of showed you guys how to do this whole thing. And the last thing is it will be an in-stream ad. Actually, let me show you guys that real quick as well. So let me just take a random video from my channel. Okay, so you have to basically with the goal I used, you only have this option with max conversions and the website traffic goal, but you want to make sure you do have skippable in-stream ad. So this will be your website URL, and this will be your display, right? And then call to action is this big blue button here, right? So you want to have that as buy now or click here. And the headline would be beats Dove, perhaps. Or it could be, let's see, like whatever your headline is, right? You just got to make it fit within 15 characters. And then you create the campaign. You want to name your ad. You can also upload these companion banners. So you can actually preview it in here. And the companion banner will show up here. So it has a certain dimension to it. If you do have a companion banner, if not, it will automatically generate one from your channel and so on. We do upload companion banners for this. So as I mentioned, we start with a $50 a day budget usually. 25 can work as well. If your product costs it's very expensive, then you want to go with a higher budget. Now, looking at the results of the first campaign. So analyzing the results of your first campaign. So first of all, congratulations. You just ran your first YouTube ad campaign. Now, you want to make sure you let it run for a few days to get enough data, especially if you're selling a product, right? Like if you're selling something that's more expensive, you'll want to let these campaigns run for a while. Now, there are a few things you want to take a look at, right? So question number one is, what's click-through rate like? If click-through rate is above 1%, that's good. 1.5 to 2% or higher is really great, and you're on the right track. And below 1% typically means you need to redo your video ad, or in some cases it means your targeting is off, and you may want to check your placements to see where your ads are showing up. So one thing you want to do is you can go in here, and if you go on placements, and you want to go to where ads showed right here, and it'll actually show it. Obviously in this case we haven't actually run any traffic here, but you want to kind of see where your ads are showing, which is super important. Now, something to be wary of is if your ads show up in, pretty low quality placements. So yeah, Now, if CPV is higher, then you're likely in a more competitive niche. And if you're in a less competitive niche, typically CPV is under 10 cents. Over 10 cents is usually a competitive niche. Also, take a look at cost per click. So if your click-through rate is good and your cost per click is still high, you need to perhaps rethink if your product's actually kind of expensive enough or if your AOV is high enough. For example, if you have like a $20 product, YouTube's not going to work for you most likely. You probably want a product with an AOV of at least $50, perhaps higher, and you want to understand your conversion rate on your website. You want to understand your numbers to make sure that you actually can make ads work, right? Because if you're expecting like 30-cent clicks, I don't think that's realistic for the US market. Typically, it's going to be around $1 or maybe even higher. During COVID, we were seeing cheaper costs, but now it's like bounced back up significantly. The other thing you want to really look at is what was cost per add to cart and cost per purchase like. So obviously you want to make sure that you're getting a reasonable cost per purchase, and if you're not getting purchases, seeing what your cost per add to cart is, right? So usually what we do is, like, for example, if you want to get purchases for $30 or $40, if it spends like $70 to $80 without a purchase, we'll pause that ad. So that's kind of how we optimize. And again, that's like a whole another discussion, but you want to like take a look at these numbers when you're analyzing the results of your first campaign. Now, there you go. You're on your way. You've taken the first step to being profitable with YouTube ads, right? Like just launching a campaign, getting on there, pushing something live. It's already a huge step because most advertisers don't even do that, right? Like they don't even put in the effort to get an ad together and to launch it on YouTube. They stick to Facebook, which is why Facebook is so competitive. Now, the next thing is once you actually get it to work, you want to look at scaling. So placements are really great for getting you profitability at the start, and they can get you started, but honestly, they're very non-scalable, right? You can probably spend a little bit of money. You're not going to get to $10,000 a day spent with placements. So if you want to actually scale, these are the audiences you want to look at. You want to look at keywords, which are basically based on the metadata of the video. So the title, the description, the tags, and Google will find those videos that are related to that keyword. There's custom intent, which is basically based on what people search on google.com. There's custom affinity audiences, which is a very cool audience. You can take in a URL. For example, you can take in, let's say, dove.com and then create a custom affinity audience, and Google will find people who are similar to people like who are interested in Dove. And similar audiences are YouTube's and Google's version of basically Facebook's lookalike audiences. They can be mixed. Sometimes they can work, sometimes they don't work well, and there are a lot more options that you have. Now, custom intent and custom affinity, we love these. Usually with custom intent, you want to put in 300 to 500 searches to create your custom intent audience, and you want to make sure there's volume. You don't want to go for super niche keywords. And custom affinity is you can basically find people who are similar to the keywords or URLs you enter in. So we love to take in competitors' URLs and make custom affinity audiences based on those. That has worked quite well for us. Okay, keyword audiences are based on video titles and metadata, like description, tag, and the words in there. So these are a high intent audience. Typically, we get great results, and you can typically spend thousands of dollars a day targeting keywords in many niches. Another one is in-market ROI. This is an affinity audience, but it's based on what Google thinks they're interested in purchasing at that moment. This has worked quite well for us. We've been actually able to scale these quite high. Now, the last one is topic audiences. So these are broad topics based on video metadata. So you're showing up in front of videos about that niche. These are extremely scalable, but they can also overspend and have very high cost per acquisition. So you want to be very careful with these. If you have a really big mass market product, like if you have a product that's working at scale, this is an audience to definitely test. Affinity audiences are also based on Google's data on what people like. However, they'll show up on any type of video, right? They can show up on random videos because it's based on the people's interest. It's not based on what they're watching right now. So it's more based on the consumer instead of the video they're watching at that exact moment. And then similar audiences. So this is Google's version of lookalike audiences. It's not as great as Facebook lookalikes. It's a mixed bag. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. However, I would definitely test it out with layering, with affinity and topic audiences. That's something I've seen work well. It's definitely something you want to be testing out. Now, the other thing is, you also, other than audiences, you need to test creative, right? Like once you're scaling past $1,000 a day, you need to have 45 video creatives a month that you're testing. You need to test different hooks and different angles, and you may even need to test your funnel and your pricing and try different things with that. You always want to be increasing customer lifetime value. You always want to be increasing average order value. You always want to be getting your conversion rate higher. Now let's talk about bidding. So as I showed you in our video, we start with maximize conversions, and then after a few weeks, we typically start switching our best campaigns over to target CPA. This is usually after we've had at least 100 conversions, usually after 200 plus conversions. And in this case with conversions, we're probably talking about purchases. And that's when you want to start using target CPA. Now, target CPA works best long term. We've been able to scale target CPA campaigns to like $5,000 a day, like literally one campaign spending $5,000 a day. With max conversions, the best we get them to is like $400, $500 a day. It's great to start with, gets good results at low scale, but target CPA is what's going to get you the really big scale and results. Now, how do you scale? So you want to be increasing budgets by 15% to 30% a day, under $1,000 a day if these conditions apply. The higher the budget gets, the less aggressive we get. So let's say if you have a campaign of $50 a day, you might be able to push it to $80 a day. Or if you have something at $100 a day, you can go to $150 a day. But if you have a campaign at, let's say, $800 a day, you might just want to be pushing it by $100 a day, right? And then if it's over $1,000 a day, stick to like $100 a day budget increases. That's what we do. So the criteria we use is the campaign has been doing well over the last 24 hours. It's also done well over the last 7 days. And it's also done well over lifetime. If any of these don't hit, we don't scale it. Because the reason why we don't do it if it hasn't, let's say the last day hasn't done well, is because usually whenever you touch a campaign, it kind of goes down in ROI for a couple days. So we want to increase budget when it's doing well. That's what we found just works well. Now, in terms of defining what does well, doesn't do well, that depends on your cost per purchase, your target goals, and all of that. Obviously, that depends on the product and so on. And I get a lot more in depth into that in other videos and so on. But typically you'll have a good idea what those numbers are as well. Now, how do you scale fast? So I want to tell you about a philosophy we have at our agency Links Digital, which is core campaigns versus new campaigns. So basically, core campaigns are the campaigns that have been performing well long term. You've scaled them, they're spending $1,000, $2,000 a day. You want to be less aggressive with them. You want to increase budget by like 10% each time you do it. You don't want to put it into learning mode. Google has a learning mode as well. While with new campaigns, you can be very aggressive. For example, for one of our accounts, with our core campaigns, we were basically letting them run, increasing by $100 a day, and basically scaling it up slowly. And then with the new campaigns, we were actually launching them at $500 a day or even $1,000 a day. And, if it didn't work, it didn't work. But basically, we had our core campaigns that we wouldn't really risk. We wouldn't really make too many changes. While with the new campaigns, we'd start with higher budgets and we'd push spend faster, just because we know that, hey, if it doesn't work out, it's all good. We can go back to our core kind of well performers. So this is kind of how you scale faster, right? And honestly, if your new campaigns are doing well, you're scaling fast and you're not risking your core moneymakers. What you don't want to do is you don't want to mess with your core performance. You don't want to mess with your best campaigns. You want to be very conservative with them. If something's working, do not mess with it. Now, listen, guys, I'm not anything special. Honestly, the first YouTube ads campaign I ran for Kino Body, I had no paid media experience, and I was able to scale that to $5,000 a day. So that was literally starting from scratch. I was never a great copywriter, and there were a couple years where every marketing thing I tried, I kind of failed at it. So if I can make YouTube ads work, so can you, right? If you want to kind of learn more, you can join my Facebook group. It's YouTube Ad Buyers. You just put that into the Facebook search, and then also have a YouTube channel. If you look up Links Digital University, you can find that YouTube channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Really appreciate you watching this video. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button and smash the like button. And if you're really interested in taking your skills to the next level, then buy the YouTube ads course, link below, in which I reveal all of my YouTube ads secrets in depth detail. And yeah, really appreciate it, guys. Hit me up if you have any questions.